Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at SkyWater technology. This was a token analysis request from one of the followers, and I wanted to let you know that anyone can make these requests and I'll most likely cover them, especially if there is an actionable trade setup to follow. And in the case of this chart, we are dealing with a quite serious downtrend here. So from the all-time high, we even potentially created here a 5-wave move to the downside, which is rather suggestive that after a 3-wave correction, we should expect at least another 5-wave move to the downside, even to new all-time lows. Yeah, this is actually a preference, and this will actually remain the main interpretation as long as we don't manage to break here the relevant resistance levels for such a wave B correction. Now, this could work out as something even more bearish. In fact, it could be something like a 1-2 setup, and then we would be able to see something like a third, fourth, and a fifth to actually even lower prices. Yeah, even lower prices would be expected within such a scenario. But if we manage, however, to break the resistance area that goes all the way up to the $23.4 level in a sustained manner, I would start to consider that this structure doesn't necessarily keep the same likelihood for continuation lower. Yeah, the probabilities would improve for this structure to manage a breakthrough, but I would still need a break above the all-time high basically for a complete formal invalidation of this structure that would suggest further continuation lower, because it can still extend lower within this exact pattern even if we break the area of resistance. It's just that the probabilities start to shift in such a case. Now, unfortunately, for the long side, this pattern to the upside could be considered complete in something like a WXY movement, where I would not need any additional highs to consider that this wave B is done. Yeah, in this case we would have an ABC structure in a wave A, we would have something like an ABC in a wave X, and then an AB or something like ABC, yeah, something like that, in a wave Y. In such a case, the pattern is complete, it doesn't need any additional highs, and if you notice here, we actually did push into the last level of resistance, but this is not a sustained break, and I actually need to see a sustained break before I can go ahead and consider the reliability or the probability for a breakthrough to be improved. Now, within such a pattern, unfortunately, we don't really have any clear structure that would suggest direct further continuation higher with a higher degree of likelihood. Sure, we could even track something like a large leading diagonal in a 1-2 and then an ABC within a wave 3. It could work out, and some patterns could allow even a more direct continuation higher, but I wouldn't necessarily start focusing on these interpretations as long as we stay here below the relevant resistance levels. Now, for this time frame, it's the $23.4 level, and if you really want to see something for a support area to track, although it's not a trade setup in my opinion, this is actually just for tracking purposes, we can track here the levels between the $13.9 all the way down to the $7.8 level, and so far we did get into this area of support, but we did so within a 5-wave move to the downside, which again rather suggests that we should expect still another low to be formed within this area. Now again, these are preferences. In terms of the probabilities, it is not a hard rule that we must get it, but yeah, it is rather preferred that we actually form at least another low. But if I am to be tracking a movement to the downside, I would probably prefer to be tracking something like a 1-2 setup in this area that would be part of a larger wave C, or yeah, at least the wave 1 of the larger wave C. And in this case, yes, we will be tracking this as part of the yellow interpretation, where we can even track an internal area of resistance for such a movement, and in this case we track the Fibonacci retracements for the entire wave 1, and here we would have the levels between the $16.4 all the way up to the $21.2 level. And it so happens that today we did manage to get this quite nice candle into the last level of resistance, but again, just a brief break above it does not cut it. I need to see a sustained break for a signal that this structure is not going to manage with a high likelihood to extend within another low. But this would also provide an early signal, if broken, that we may have another shot at breaking here the 78.6% retracement for the larger wave B correction, and if that is broken in a sustained manner, the next level to watch for is the all-time high, and if we get a break even above that, we would actually nullify this overall larger downtrend that is going on in this chart, and it would remove the high degree of risk that is associated with this overall pattern. But for now, there isn't really much else to be added, because within this structure in a wave 2, so far we only have a 3-wave move to the upside, and again, I still need to see a sustained break above here, the 78.6% retracement, and I need to see a break above the beginning of the wave 1, yeah, around the $24.3 level, for a complete invalidation of this 1-2 setup. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.